Mr. Colburn's correct. It starts with a change in the ideology and the psychology that is running our city. The brilliance of British democracy, the world around is that the bureaucrats run it and the people that get elected are just sort of there, and that's how it works. Everyone who's on council gets their rotation every 3, now 4 years. Administration is still there. And administration are the ones that do think that they do run a lot of the things in the city. And that ill respect between both departments needs two things. One, it needs a respectful relationship. It needs the people to trust the people who are on council, and then also for council to get in more often and actually understand what it is that they're facing. Because, I don't think anyone wakes up every morning and says, who am I going to stick it to today by designing a road this way? I don't think they think like that. Now, on the other hand, you need someone to walk in there and really clean house, because there is a lot of stuff that happens in administration with a lot of excess people, an incredible amount of waste, and you're also having a very authoritarian attitude given whenever anyone else, and this is not transportation, this is planning and development. If you're trying to build a house, it's impossible to get proper answers from sustainable development, from corporate. You need someone to clean house in there, and that's someone who knows how to read documents in great detail.
I don't understand the big fad for bike paths. I looked up the figures, and 2/3 of 1% ride bicycles to work. So what's the big deal with all these paths over here? Well, if you want to ride a bicycle, get a side street and have a leisurely ride. Why do you have to play Tour de France alongside the cars? Is a real fad. Some sort of moral superiority. It's a strange thing. I would like to know where this came from. In my area, emails and talking to people, old women are more concerned about getting run down by bicycles on the sidewalks rather than cars on the street. I think that's more of an issue to be addressed. Bikes had to stay on the road when I was a kid.
25 of them.
I hear they're all over the place.
Well, I'm not defending the practice, but bikes are on the sidewalk because they're not safe to ride on the road. And I'm a cyclist, and I'm happy to be a cyclist, and I think that there's some apparent reasons why one might want to use an active mode of transportation, Terry. So, it's good for you, it's better for the environment. However, that said, I am not a fan of painted bike lanes. I think they're dangerous. They give a false sense of security, and we need to do better. I would like to see sharrows. I would like to see curbs between the bikes and the traffic that enable cars to still park along them. This can be done. All it needed was the political will to engage the people, the stakeholders, the drivers, the walkers, the cyclists. And democracy's messy. Clearly a dictatorship's the way to go. It's fast, we can get stuff done. Democracy's messy, and a good democracy is the messiest of all. That means you get everyone together before the plans are announced. We didn't see that happen with this bike plan, and nobody's happy. Not at all, and we're still left without a viable bike path plan. So I think we need to go back to square one. We need the input from the community. This was the same with the infill development guidelines. We were told this is how it's going to be. We need to start from scratch. We need to do this right, and all sorts of people will use those bike lanes when they're safe. It is a viable means to get to work. I see people doing it right at -40. I'm not one of those. I drive a car when it's cold. But we do need to provide options for people, and that's one.
I am a cyclist, and I'm from Toronto. We have bike lanes, and I can say to some degree that the bill is right that it creates some level of security. I do believe that we cannot resignate people to side roads and whatnot, and that my position on it will be, at least for now, on a tailored point, because one, this is Edmonton. Yes, people do like to speed and do what they want on the street, and yes, these side roads will be a good alternative, but the fact still remains that when the winter comes, the bike lanes will probably disappear. So I don't see how, and considering the expense that it will go into it, that is a very viable option to have a bike lane, at least not now. And I think if anything is to be done, maybe education. We can share the road. You can ride on the sidewalk and people will walk on it and it is safe. However, when people refuse to be conscious of what they're doing, yes, it poses a serious issue. However, the only solution to that, at least for now, it would be increased education. The motorists have a role to play, the cyclists have a role to play. And considering that the city is having about $3 billion worth of debt, I think we should be not too hasty to start painting roads. Thank you.
I'm going to take a written question. This is for all candidates. In 2012, over 35% of Newton community residents signed a petition to stop shortcutting through the community. To date, the petition has not been responded to. If elected, will you respond to our petition? And if so, how? And we're going to start with Daniel.
Shortcutting have its dangers, and yes, I will respond to it, and the solution to it would be another many-pronged approach. The city has a role to play, and so does the community. And I think a bylaw that actually addresses the issue would be a long way to go, and people actually ensuring that those laws are respected is another way to go. So shortcutting has its dangers, and it's a serious issue. If elected, it will be on the table, and it will be discussed accordingly. Thank you.
I became aware of that petition when I participated in the James Walk here in Newton in early May, and I made a comment to Sonia, oh my gosh, like the traffic whizzing by, it was quite, even though there was like 30 of us on the street, it was scary. The trucks barreling down 121 Avenue. We met later that week and I learned about the petition and I also knew that this is what we're experiencing in Delton where I live. They're shortcutting between 97th and 82nd. And then I learned that it's happening in every mature community. Half the problem is that, again, I hate to pin it on transportation, but arterial roads, or roads are being used as arterial roads that were never designed to be arterial roads. Our communities were designed as little communities unto themselves. You had the school in the middle. The roads went around it. If you drove through the community, it was because you had business there. You lived there, or you were going to do something there. We've seen that altered completely, and it's been called to the attention of transportation, and it's been ignored. So I think it's not a matter of identifying the problem, it's a matter of reacting to the problem. So I'd like to see a real effort from City Council to pay attention to community concerns. This is a big one. And I live on one of those street cutting avenues, and you know, it still amazes me that I'm the criminal if I throw a snowball at one of these guys to slow him down. I'm across from a park, and I'm quite terrified. Children run out into the road. And I'm fortunate that I haven't seen anything terribly tragic yet, but I think it's coming. So we need to address it quickly.
Well, of course, I would look at the petition. I don't know exactly what it says, but I would read what it says and discuss issues and perhaps send it to the proper bureaucratic transportation department, see what they say, and take it from there. There's various ways of landscaping a street to slow people down if there's really a need.
This particular petition, the people from Newton are going to know this the best. This particular petition is addressing one route of about half a dozen in the city that were identified not only as shortcutting, but something much greater. That particular issue falls under a completely different bylaw and a federal government mandate, which is very closely related to what we have called CEPTED. It's community planning or crime prevention through environmental design. Thank you. These shortcutting routes have been linked to crime. Not only do I list in the position, there's a cement block on that road to stop shortcutting a month after I'm elected, or as soon as I can, because that stops crime, and now we can deal with transportation issues properly, because So now you don't have any shortcutters either.
Any elected official that receives a petition with 1,400 signatures would, I just can't believe that they would not respond to that petition and sit down with members of that community or communities and have a full discussion on what the issues were and how that elected official can work to support the concerns and needs of those communities. So it's just a non-starter that as an elected official, I would respond positively to any petition that came to my attention. I will point out that in regard to the Newton concerns, even before I declared my candidacy as a school board trustee, my responsiveness to this issue was such that I met the leader within the Newton community that is championing this initiative to take a look at shortcutting and to find better solutions. I met with Sonia for an hour and a half back in the fall. I had another 2-hour meeting here. We've exchanged many emails. I'm very well informed about the Newton challenges, and if elected, I will be working with the Newton community to make changes that can significantly reduce shortcutting and create better solutions for safety, traffic flow, criminal activity, or reduction of criminal activity associated with shortcutting, et cetera, et cetera. So Newton community has my commitment in that regard.
Dr. Sobin, thank you for that question. You know that the transportation department in my office has been working with you more than probably any other individual or community. They've given you virtually nothing but time in order to resolve these problems, studies, surveys, and unfortunately, you won't take their answer as the answer. You disagree, and they disagree with you. As an elected official, someone said they'll throw a brick out there and stop traffic. They'll do all kinds of things with that. Well, that's not realistic whatsoever. We have engineers that plan roads. We have planners that look at all these things. We come out and when you say that there's an issue, we actually come out and take a look at it, absolutely. And I see some head shaking here, and absolutely, I can tell you that this issue has been taken very, very seriously, not just here, but other communities, but especially here. I don't think there's any other community that's gotten the attention that this issue has gotten here. And at this point, we're going to continue to deal with it, continue to look at it, and if the numbers change, Dr. Sobin, in the next 6 months or next year, then certainly the changes will determine what we're going to do. And I think that many of you who know the issue certainly would agree.
The time is 20 after 9. We're going to take one question from the floor and one more written question.